2, and we are live. Remember to share the link. Yabba dabba doo. Hello and welcome to Fanboy Modeling School. This is the Blerd Herd Special Edition. We are reviewing Ahsoka Episode 3, as well as discussing fan theories, shenanigans, future sites, all the craziness going on Star Wars Ahsoka, only on Disney+. How are you guys today?
What's good?
What is up?
I am the Fat Mantis, and who am I here with?
Here with your boy Steve. Real name, no gimmicks. What's going on, motherfuckers? We're slipping this out so I can swear.
So, who's our third horseman?
Oh man, SHAOLIN Ice Boxer.
Boom! SHAOLIN Ice Boxer. That's a name right there.
Hey, it's a little backstory to that. You know, I'm sure we'll get to it one day.
I don't know it.
Really?
No. I'm starting to. I'm questioning. I'm like, I think I know it, but
I think you should know it.
I thought you were saying that I would know it, but okay.
Oh yeah.
Over here, look at what we've got. My man Pony over here. It reminds me of the Crystal Castles. Izzy, haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, Buzz?
What's up, baby?
Mega.
And of course, we got Rebags, the Pink Princess, and hashtag Fangirls for Fanboys. What up?
What up, man?
What's up? So we're talking about the latest episode of Ahsoka. What did you guys think?
Loved it. I loved it. I got to tell you, it was a filler episode. We'll get into that. Obviously, I know that's going to be a point of contention for a lot of people, but I actually really enjoyed this episode, man. It was probably the best filler episode I've ever seen on Disney Plus, hands down. That's my criteria.
Damn.
As a filler episode.
Man, you messing with me, Steve. Man, you messing with me, brother. I didn't even really consider it being a filler episode, but I mean, I guess you kind of look at it like if it progresses the plot or if it doesn't.
Right.
And I guess maybe it didn't necessarily progress the plot, but we did get some nice world building this time.
Yes, we did.
We did get some super dope lore, and we got a view of where we're going. So
yeah,
you know, it was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. What up, Cincy? And Izzy says, I'm back.
I'm back, dear God.
So, I really enjoy. Here's what I'm saying. Right. It's weird. Here's what I don't know what to say. I haven't loved any episode, but I love the story and everything that's going on. But I feel like there's no one standout episode that is being like amazing. Like, I don't think this was particularly amazing. Certainly had freaking fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair critique. You know?
I'm saying Ahsoka in a spacesuit deflecting blaster bolts from a craft. That was great.
That was absolutely great, man. But it was the standout moment for this show for me, to Shaolin's point, the world building portion where she was training with Wang. That scene right there, man, is something that we've been missing from Disney Star Wars for quite some time. Right.
All right. They don't train in Disney Star Wars.
They don't train at all, man. And it did point me to a place. I do have a gripe in regards to their type of world building. Maybe I'm just used to Marvel's intentional path when it comes to expanding a universe. But while I was watching this show, and I just want to throw this out there, man, we jump out early. I don't feel as though the events of The Mandalorian have happened according to the show. Like one way, shape, or another. Like you would think Sabine would know, like, oh shit, my people reclaimed the planet and fought some genocidal maniac, right? You would think that the New Republic, which by the way is the stupidest government to ever exist.
I'm now realizing how stupid they are. For them to be like, oh, they took oath loyalties.
Yeah.
The Imperials took loyalties and oath to the Republic, so their war crimes mean nothing.
Your sins have been washed away by our political jargon. What are you speaking of, Green Woman?
there's some serious. Obviously, they're sticking to these cliches.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I think it's clear that the Asian senator is a traitor.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say the same damn thing.
Like, how many times have they done that where the boss, the officer, or the senator is in the way of the hero's progress?
Right.
They're a dick for no reason, and then it turns out that they're a traitor. Okay.
Yeah, real quick, man. There was a huge Easter egg with that particular senator. I did not watch the Bad Batch, full disclosure. And I didn't watch the other pilot show that they came out with. It was like Rogue Squadron or something.
Oh, no, it was Resistance.
Resistance.
It was the Poe Dameron show.
But I was watching Heavy Spoilers. Shout out to Heavy Spoilers. And the other guy that looks like he's wearing a Blockbuster uniform. And apparently that Asian Screen Crush, yeah. Apparently that Asian senator was featured either in the Bad Batch or that other show. And he isn't a traitor.
Oh.
He survives the whole thing, and his son is a part of the resistance, and he took issue with his son becoming a part of the resistance. Apparently, this episode was rich with Easter eggs, and that was one I did not know.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Filoni is the Easter egg master, and so every time I look at articles or YouTube, I just realize every time I've gotten 100 Easter eggs, I found out there's really 400 in there, and I missed all this shit. And like, this is a reference to blah blah blah's mother, right? So. I don't know, but I do get sick and tired of some of these cliches, but I guess Star Wars is built off of cliches.
Oh, yeah.
But like this thing where like, obviously there's an Imperial trap within the New Republic, and the people who should be helping the senators are doing nothing.
Yeah, I love. Okay, so let's start right from the beginning here, man. So my huge issue with that entire scene right there when she's meeting with the senators, right, is the fact that they look a hardened war hero in the face. And they're like, we want to thank you for your efforts and all that you've done to build this new republic, but we are the elected senators, and now we must lead. And I'm like, pussy nigga say what?
And so,
like, go ahead.
I love her statement to him. However, I don't know how real revolutions are or how they are afterwards, but when she said, did you fight in the rebellion? And then he said no, and she was like, "Oh, you were just waiting to see the dust clear and who was still standing, right?"
100%.
I don't know if that. I mean, think about it this way: your entire all these planets, 10,000 planets, are enslaved by a fascist, human supremacist government, and your people have to rise up and physically murder and destroy them. Mm-hmm. Would anyone vote for someone who didn't participate?
I mean.
Oh, you getting into the dregs of this now. This is a new
yeah.
right now.
I bet you Filoni and them did not think that scene would invoke this type of conversation.
But here's the thing, right? We're talking about a galaxy far, far away, distant past, right? And apparently all the people that occupy this universe, they're sheep, right? They're 100% sheep. But we're also talking about this hierarchy, this weird hierarchy that only exists in Star Wars. Why weren't all these senators killed when Palpatine was in power? Right? How is he? Just wrap your head around.
Oh, well, particularly Mon Mothma. How did she survive the reign?
Thrawn tried to kidnap her, and he was trying to offer, but how did these people survive? Doesn't Sidious strike you as the type of guy who's just like, you know what? No, kill them all. Every last one of them. Their kids, their mother, their grandmother, their Meemaw, that bitch that gave them education in school, kill every last one.
Knowing Disney Plus, they're going to give Mon Mothma her own feminist series, and we'll get
hold on now. Wait, we were not about to do that with Mon Mothma. Okay, that is everyone's favorite sugar mama. You're not going to treat her that way. Okay?
You know what? I think she's becoming. I do love her. I absolutely love her. And as a matter of fact, I think her deleted scenes from episode 3 are some of the best scenes in episode 3. So.
Wait. Is Mon Mothma the female equivalent of a zaddy? What would be the female equivalent? Like, is she the white cougar? Is that what y'all?
Oh, she's definitely the white cougar. The white cougar. But I do think that she's like Ahsoka, where they're overusing her now.
As a plot device, I have no issue with them using her. It does bring in the nostalgia. It brings in and ties everything else, man. But the thing that annoys me most about Star Wars, because I didn't watch what's this shit? The spinoff from Rogue One. What was the name of that show? Andor. I have not watched it.
See Andor?
Well, that's some of the best Mon Mothma you're gonna get, man.
Apparently, and the thing about it is, I don't mind her character because of all of the stuff they did in Andor. I just take issue with these other senators, right? Like literally, I take issue with them. That means the writing is doing their job because I'm like, you are what's wrong with this galaxy, right?
Yeah.
You guys are-
Welcome in, Lainey. So this is a super minor spoiler because it's her basic story. But Mon Mothma in Andor is married to an Imperial sympathist. He likes the Empire.
Right.
And so she's literally being a resistance fighter beneath her husband's nose.
Yo, I said it when we were talking about it earlier, man. Like, there is no better double agent than Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
He could go to sleep and still be the best double agent in existence. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Mothma out here proving these red pill motherfuckers, right? Admiring these motherfuckers like
Your woman is working against you. If you had any fears, it's true. Just look at Mon Mothma. Yo,
well, Logan Paul would definitely, if he was in the Senate,
he'd be such an Imperial.
Steve,
Such a prick.
that man suffered enough. Okay, let's
no, he hasn't. We got to keep our foot on his neck.
Oh yeah, I've hated him forever. So I want him to I even want him to lose the fight, so he can't regain his masculinity.
Listen, if by some unfortunate series of events he takes $1 million baby turn, I would not weep.
Holy shit! You get the reference, SHAOLIN?
Oh, I got it. Oh, yeah. That's a little dark, but hey, brother, it wouldn't hurt me either.
Yo. Okay, so another thing before we go on to the actual action pack, because we're still talking at the start of it.
Right.
So we knew it was coming, and we had to see it, and so they cast, Syndulla's son, Hera's son,
Jason,
and I didn't like him as a cartoon. I just don't understand. I'm going to say it again. A green-skinned Twi'lek gets together with a half Puerto Rican human, and they produce this thing?
Hey, look. First of all, after last week, you had me feeling like we weren't going to ever see the kid in live action. I thought they weren't going to actually do it.
And when he popped up, it blew my mind.
Running down the hallway, I was like, he's actually here.
He's here, and
did that not make it Rebels season 5 officially?
Yeah, I would agree with that. This is basically Rebels season 5.
It is. Yeah, this is Rebels live action.
And they're just using Ahsoka's name to sell it because people love Ahsoka.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going with this little kid. Once again, another force sensitive motherfucker. Everyone's force sensitive now.
Right.
So Spoon Crush had a great take on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, like, that once again, we keep adding force sensitive characters. Everyone's a Jedi. Here's what I'm saying. This is what doesn't make sense about Force Awakens: that he could have an order that was destroyed because apparently 30 years before he was flush with fucking Jedi. He had 1 million Jedi to pick from to start his order. It's not like he'd be alone in a temple. He'd have an entire teaching staff.
And you're not wrong. And you're not wrong either. At least with the kid, it kind of makes sense that he would be. I feel like Sabine was just
if he's gonna get Ahsoka, Sabine, Jason. If he ever gets Cal Kestis can't be dead. We're gonna see him again in live action. There's probably a bunch of others I'm not even thinking of that are in other canons or whatever, or other things that I'm not checking out. I think that's more than enough to have like a competent teaching staff.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
And to deal with a punk like Adam Driver.
You put respect on future Reed Richards' name, motherfucker.
But anyway, Steve, what were you going to say?
Every time that roll down, by the way. Sorry.
So the rumor mill is that he's re-engaging in the conversation, but with all the strikes and everything, who knows what the fuck is going to happen? You know, we'll get that movie the same time we get Blade, and we'll get the Acolyte. You know?
I kind of feel, unfortunately, that Steve jinxed Blade. Steve said back in the
I
day,
jinxed it.
No, you jinxed it back in the beginning. They announced it, and you looked at me and you said, "These motherfuckers ain't ever going to make this movie."
No, motherfucker. That's not how it went down. It was after a full year from the premiere when they did the little teaser at Comic-Con San Diego, right? And I was like, huh, they've said nothing. This shit's not going to happen. But, oh, by the way.
I told him to shut up. I was like, it's happening. Shut up.
And he lied, just like my father. He's like, it's going to be okay. It has never been okay. Yeah, but before I get into the whole shit with Screen Crush and what he said about when Jason said he wanted to be a Jedi, did you guys know that none of us celebrated the most important Black holiday that happened in August? You know what happened in August? What movie was filmed in August? Back in the day?
New Jack City.
No, fucking Blade. Blade was released in August, like damn near 20 years ago. The original Blade movie was released, man. And the community that I'm a part of, I don't go on Facebook anymore. All the Blerd.
Oh, the Blerd. Yes.
Yo, everyone is posting pictures of Wesley Snipes. It was crazy. I went back through the fucking chat. It was absolutely crazy.
Yo, knowledge is the most what you get out of Facebook groups. Usually, there's a lot of creepers. It's weird or whatever. But the real fans are part of Facebook groups. Like for instance, Saber Light Knights, right?
Right.
The real fans, the real people who know what they're talking about, are on right in your crew.
Yeah.
And the posers go on other websites, but. If you're real, you're part of some Facebook group.
I went to go see Blade, the first one. When it came out, my dad took me. I really had no business going to see that movie, first of all, because I was like 10 or 11 years old. I mean, I will never forget
the opening scene with the freaking blood fountain.
When the blood started shooting out of the ceiling, I remember my dad, he kind of looked at me. He was like, oh, this is kind of a mistake. And then when we left, he was like, oh, man, when that blood started coming out of the ceiling, I kind of wondered if I made a mistake, but you did okay. And I was great, man, because that movie was amazingly dope, and I will never forget that, man. That's a great
movie. My God, another great freaking superhero movie that is slept on.
Bro, really quickly, you know what else? So the reason I know that was, shout out to Spin 95, throwback Spin with Steve. I was covering a historical hip-hop moment. The other day was like the 20-year anniversary or something like that for the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I was like, oh shit, I bought that CD the night I went to go see Blade. Literally, it was me and all the kids from the Columbus Avenue crew.
Are you serious?
My girlfriend at the time, and we stopped at Tower Records. I copped the CD because I was like, yo, I got to go over here real quick, get this, and then we can go see the movie. And then I went to go see Blade right afterwards. So shout out to Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, and
God
Blade.
bless that woman.
Amazing shit happening in August. So Screen Crush said something that completely blew my mind on the scene where Jason says, I want to be a Jedi. And it was a joke, but I think it was really telling, right? And I know they'll never retcon the new trilogy, but he made a great point with this. He's like, when he said that, did their mind immediately cut to this? And then he shows the scene where Luke is outside of his temple, not rushing in to save anyone, hearing all the kids dying on the inside. Did you ever notice that there was audio to that? I didn't recall that. But when the temple's being burned, there are people inside screaming, and Luke is outside with RJ.
He's just being a bitch.
He's just like, it's too late for them.
It's too late. No, Master, I'm alive. I'm alive. And he's like, it's over. Why,
he falls all dramatically to his knees. He's just breathing hard. Run in there, help somebody. What are you doing?
Oh my God!
The fire out, like, by just pushing the fire out.
By the way, I want to recommend something to anyone watching, anyone listening, and you guys. I haven't put it in the chat yet. I don't know if you guys are into it. So I listen to fan fiction all the time on YouTube, right. And so Prism, the YouTube channel for Prism. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No,
I don't know.
Oh, I can't believe Courtney, the Star Wars man, doesn't know this. Yo, Prism is like one of those AI generated photo apps, right? And so on their official one, they did 3 fan fictions, and they simply say, "What if Episode 7 was awesome?" And it's literally them just showing AI generated new artwork for Episode 7, and it's someone narrating. Just speaking, and each video is an hour long. It's like 50 minutes plus thing, and they're retellings of the new one, of course. But they interject a lot of stuff from the EU, and I won't say it's perfect, but it's really good. And I remember when these videos were coming out, like I came in after the second one, and when I would literally waited, I was counting down to see the third one. like it was an episode of a show or something. You know what I mean? 'Cause I couldn't wait to see it.
Damn. Well, you got me when you said EU. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Pretty high quality, man.
It's crazy, and it's getting mad love. It's getting mad love. What's his face? Even it's so funny. After I was experiencing it, what's his face started reviewing it. Star Wars Theory.
Oh, that guy.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, he started saying, and that's my recommendation. But let's get back to Ahsoka.
All right, so we had the scene with Jason obviously being revealed, right? Which was a huge bit of fanfare. Officially made it Rebels season 5. And then we start moving into the meat of the episode, right? So you get the training scene with Sabine and Ahsoka. And I think that there was something that really amazing happened, and why I thought this was the best filler episode. We had heard about the tension of their relationship basically in conversation, right? Just conversational dialogue in the previous 2 episodes. But now we got to see what the source of their tension was. Bro, I'm going to be the first person to say it here if no one else is going to say it. There's a reason that we have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and no one ever mentions 4th, 5th, or 6th place in competition, right? No one remembers who the fucking 6th best boxer in the world is. No one knows who the 6th best martial artist in the world ever was. But your man Hu Wang, always keeping it a buck, told this broad in the episode where he's like, you are the worst.
The worst. And he's a robot, so he can calculate that to precision, right? It's not just conjecture.
He's like, your aptitude with the Force is the lowest I've ever seen. But we got to see some of the tension between Ahsoka and Sabine, and it's not on Ahsoka, which I was kind of worried they were going to use that as a plot device, where Ahsoka is another failed Jedi teacher. Right. No, the problem for the first time in a long time in Star Wars rested solely with the pupil. Obi-Wan and Anakin was a dysfunctional relationship. There was a lot of broken down boundaries in that shit, right? Go ahead, bro.
I'm loving what you're saying right now, but I will say it like this. I think if she was still a Jedi, the Jedi would criticize Ahsoka for not rising to the occasion of helping a lesser student.
Of course. That's kind of what the droid was doing in a way.
Yeah.
He's telling her all the time how, shitty Sabine is and how, her teaching techniques aren't working on her. She's like, that's not.
He outright told her. He outright told her. He's like, he's been with them for a millennium. Right. For quite some time, right? Chronicling the journeys and teachings of Padawans and teachers, knights, masters, etc. Yeah. And he was like, she would not have been accepted into the order.
Right.
Point blank, period. Right to Ahsoka's face.
And you know what it is Ahsoka's used to being a badass. Right. And when she didn't have a badass pupil, she was like, fuck this shit. You're slowing me down. You're slowing me down. I'm out.
Well, wait, that's where I'm going to disagree. I actually honestly think that Sabine is her own barrier in her training, right? Like at first I thought Ahsoka was just going to be like, she just dipped on her. But I think Sabine's Mandalorian traits got in her way. And the fact of the matter is, I think we might for the first time get to see what it's like when you're a D student at the Jedi Temple, right? When you're a D Jedi trainer. And I thought that was really cool. Like watching her doing the precision strikes with Hu Wang, that was really cool. And it looks like she scored really well. But then when it relied on something around her aptitude and understanding of the Force, you start to understand why the Jedi were so dogmatic in their approach. Because in case you guys didn't know, it's really cool to attack Jedis in their dogmatic approach. Like they only take kids in and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like, yeah, but they want to get you when you're a blank canvas.
And think about it this way, too. Sabine is a Mandalorian. Those dudes, they're brutes, man. They don't care anything about any kind of spiritual awareness. It is smash, smash, shoot, and kill. That's all they're about.
Actually, their definition of spirituality is literally kill, shoot.
Right.
Yeah. as Mando said in an episode when he's trying to board the ship, they say you have to take your weapons off and put in a lockbox. And he says, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are my religion.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen to that, brother. Yeah. Amen to that, brother.
So that's an extra layer, like, as to why it's so difficult for her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Poor Sabine on the internet. People are giving her mad hate. Everyone's like, worst Jedi ever. We hate her. I feel bad for her. I will say this. One thing that I felt was out of place in this episode, And I think Ahsoka kept saying, "Oh, you'll get used to it. You're out of practice." Sabine was not a good warrior.
No.
And in Rebels, she was a competent warrior.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ahsoka did say, she's like, "Oh, you're out of practice. It's been years, it's been years since she's been doing shit." But I just remember Sabine being a good warrior, so I just like, she's not even good at that now.
So here's the problem with that, right? Because if you go back and rewatch Rebels, right, Sabine really didn't have the chance to become a Mandalorian warrior, did she? Right? She was
right. She wasn't
the Imperial Academy. Her training was already corrupt by the lesser training of the Imperialist Guard and like stormtroopers and things of that nature, bro.
Oh yeah, I'll admit she's not a Mando. She's not a Mando type. But I'm saying she was never like shy around a blaster.
No, never shy around the blaster. But I got to tell you, I did enjoy the training scene. I enjoyed watching the build up and the tension with her in Ahsoka. And then you see some development in Ahsoka's character later on, but I don't want to jump ahead, where Ahsoka kind of sticks to her path of like, I'm not a Jedi, so I'm not going to train her the way that Jedis would train her. Like, I'm not going to discard her. And I think that's going to be a part of this universe that Dave Filoni is building, which kind of lends heavily. You both are, extended universe guys. This lends heavily to the EU, man. Like, it really does. Like, hey, Luke even adopted that attitude. Like, hey, there are practices that the Jedi used that held us back and ultimately lined them up to get massacred by fucking Palpatine, bro.
That's why I hate that the sequel trilogy is just basically a retelling of the original trilogy. I wanted to be able to see Luke's improved Jedi Order.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's really what it should have been. You should have been like, you see the flawed Jedi Order. Jedis are wiped out. And then the third thing should be Luke brings them back and they're different.
Yeah, exactly.
A different type of Jedi.
But that's logical, though. That's the problem. You're speaking logical and you're making sense. That's really what the issue is here, man.
I really like the training episodes too. Things too. I particularly like that Huang can literally digitally determine where she struck on the things. He's like, he has grading marks on them like that.
Yeah. Really quickly, I have to, because this is the part I really wanted to gush about. Look. So, I teach lightsaber martial arts, lightsaber combat, right? So the way I organize the system, the system that I teach that people fight with is there's 9 angles of attack, 9 cuts, three lines of attack, right? So you have high line, mid line, low line, right? So when she's doing the cuts and, calling out the stuff, and then he like projects back what she did, that is exactly, it was validation. In the fantasy world. I've seen an angle 1 and an angle 4 and an angle 3. It was perfect. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I hope my students are watching this. This is the kind of stuff.
Oh wait, this is the thing I don't understand. Do your students watch this? Do you guys gush around Star Wars before you start practice?
So here's the thing. It's I don't want to say Star Wars agnostic because that's like a little strong, but the idea is, if you love Star Wars, it works for you. If you don't give a crap about it, then it still works for you. So you'll have the people that do gush and the people that are like,
There are people who are not Star Wars fans in school,
or extremely casual, to the point that they might go to a theater to see it, but they won't like.
They're those guys who go to Comic-Con dressed up as Darth Maul.
Yeah, right. Like they don't know how to believe a kyber crystal,
right?
Aspect of it.
And I'm not trying to hate on them. We love you guys too. We love the casuals too.
Yeah, they make it the largest part of the market.
Filthy casuals.
Filthy casuals. Okay. So, this ends up being a dogfighting episode where it's a lot of space battles. It's a lot of back and forth. So I'm just going to say this. It's slightly annoying, but it's not big enough to be a real complaint. They keep having references to the original trilogy in like a cutesy way. Right. I'll give you an example. When Ahsoka decides to start training her instead of Huang, she gives him the thing and she's like, well, how am I supposed to see with the blast shield down? That's exactly like exact quote. And then when she gets into the thing, even when she's shooting up, when she destroys one, she goes, I got one. Exactly like Luke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. You saw New Hope, Filoni.
Yeah.
Are you annoyed with it, or am I being overcritical?
It did stick out a little bit to me. It mainly stuck out because it was a little campier than the tone of the episode kind of was up to that point. You know what I mean? I'm like, why is she like she just blew some of the smithereens and it's like she won a prize or something? You know?
Right, but we've seen her blow. This is the thing. We've seen her blow up TIE fighters before.
Yeah. And then, but I will tell you, I did like the aspect of them working together, and then like Sabine kind of becoming the master for that little bit. She was telling Ahsoka when to dive and when to turn or whatever, so she could line up the right shot.
Right.
Like, I did like that part. To be completely transparent, I've never been a huge dogfight like man. Like
Thank
really
you.
in any media, a little bit in Star Wars.
In Star Wars, you don't.
Independence Day, it was great.
Wait, hold on, whoa.
Yeah,
the trench run. No.
I'm not saying that there aren't some pieces of it that I like, but overall, it just.
Wait, hold on. The opening scene of Revenge of the Sith. Okay, damn. I love it. I think that's the best opening of any Star Wars movie.
I would agree.
When you're watching the two ships fly, and then when they go around the bigger ship, you see all out war over Coruscant, and it's just like it looks like the war to end all wars. Like that is an amazing scene.
You aren't wrong, but it really kicked off for me when Dooku's old geriatric self flipped over that pole and drew his lightsaber. I'm like,
I love it so much. I even love Dooku. I actually like Dooku's fights. There's actually only one trilogy, the Real Six. I call them the Real Six. That's episodes 1 through 6. There's only one lightsaber fight I don't actually like, and it's the end of Attack of the Sith. I'm sorry, Attack of the Clones. I felt nothing from that. That with Yoda and all that, it was just not my thing.
Was it too over the top?
Yeah, it was too over the top. It was too over the top. I would rather like them do real combat. Like when he's fighting Yoda, Yoda's not a real martial artist. He's just a CGI blur.
Right.
So, and I prefer the technical thing. Like for instance, Dooku in the beginning of Revenge was really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Obi-Wan versus Anakin. That's like such an amazing.
You mean the longest parry fight to ever exist in any film that's ever been made?
No one was landing blows, man.
Oh my god! But the passion and the fury, man.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Favorite moment in all of Star Wars. All of Star. Obi-Wan's my favorite character.
Oh yeah.
But when Anakin says, and he's like, in my perspective, the Jedi are the evil ones. And and like you see Obi-Wan, he tears up and he goes, "I have failed you. I have failed you, Anakin."
Wait.
He takes it so he takes it so personal.
Yeah.
You're talking about the scene when they're on the floating robots, because that should have been an impactful scene. But instead, we had I Am the Automaton playing Anakin Skywalker, and he did not fucking land it.
I was still feeling. I admit his line wasn't great, but
no, the line was great. His delivery,
right. What he said wasn't great, but Obi-Wan,
the ones that are wrong, and I'm like,
Steve, why are you?
Yeah, but Obi-Wan's passion.
You underestimate my power.
Because it's at that moment that Obi-Wan decides to end him when he says, "I have failed you," and he says, "I failed you." He feels guilty, and he's like, "I gotta kill this motherfucker now."
Yeah.
Well, actually, I see. Here's my thing, man. I have a different spin. So I saw Revenge of the Sith after being up for 3 days, because you know what I used to do back in the day, and I went to go see it with Callahan, right? And we saw it at a nice little theater on Sunset in California, man. And it was, let me tell you guys, man, it was fucking packed. Like, this theater was absolutely packed to the point where they did something that I've never seen happen again in any theater. They let people sit on the floor in the downward angles. Like, they were literally, that's
like they were little kids or something. And
no, these were grown ass adults.
Right.
Sitting on the floor. And I
Pretty
remember
sure it's code.
100%.
Definitely
this max capacity of 500 people. There were easily 1,200 people in the theater for the showing we were in. It was fucking crazy. But I remember the scene that really blew my mind away, where I realized that Obi-Wan, and this is where I slightly disagree with you, Mantis, he came there with the intention to kill Anakin. Like maybe he was looking for a reason not to kill him, but when he dropped his jacket, he had already made up his mind. It wasn't that he force choked his pregnant wife, right? He was like, well, it is what it is.
You could tell he tried just for like a second.
So,
he was like, all right, here. One more chance.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I do think that I think on the surface, he's like, I have to go kill him. But he's really hoping he has an excuse not to kill him.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you. Yeah.
That's the problem with the character of Obi-Wan. So once you start decapitating children, Mantis, I'm telling you right now, you too, Shaolin. I'm like, well, clearly this brother cannot be saved, right? You said you got it on video, right? Did you say?
He saw it on video. he saw it literally on video.
Cut the Padawan's head off. When you say that, are you speaking figuratively? No, literally. Cut his head off. Okay, yeah, no, I'm going to go kill Anakin. You go deal with the geriatric that threw the most amazing black man in the universe out the window. I'd be ready to kill Anakin after what he did to Mace Windu. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, but I love it that Obi-Wan. I mean, we were talking too much about Obi, but I love that Obi-Wan is really he's basically a Jedi assassin, but he won't admit it because he's a good guy. Yeah. But in all the movies, he sneaks to his target. And then he justifies it by a duel. He's like, I'm going to duel you. But he's really here to kill you.
Yeah.
And so that's what he did to Anakin. That's what he did to Grievous. That's what he was going to do to Dooku if he didn't get captured.
Yeah.
And that's what he did to that's what he did to Homeboy that had a child with the Night Sister. What was the homegirl's name that was like Dooku's apprentice? What was her name?
Asajj Ventress.
What's the guy's name that, remember,
the dude with the dreads, the white, the dude with the dreads.
Quinlan Vos.
Obi-Wan and the council basically say this guy's a riffraff, but he's good at tracking. Let's send him out there. Let's send him on a deep cover, expose him to the dark side, right? Yeah. He set that guy up. That's Obi-Wan's spirit.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is a dark ass motherfucker. He's riding that line all the time.
He's hanging out. He had a whole romantic interest with a woman, and he's shitting on Anakin for having feelings for fucking what's her
But he did his duty. That's the difference. Obi-Wan stayed with the order. He wasn't going to. Anakin at the drop of a hat would have left the order.
But here's the thing too. Obi-Wan was actually a bro because you could tell he knew, but he kept that shit quiet.
I agree.
He didn't tell anybody, and it was clear that he knew.
He knew for a while. He absolutely knew for a while, which is why he went to go question her when he was looking for him.
Yeah.
He knew that he's like, they're more than friends. Come on.
Well, that's the hubris of the Jedi, and that's why Palpatine's rise to power is so magnificent, right? Like, not only did he manage to blind them, but he completely blindsided them because he's sitting around, he's reading their tweets, he's looking at all the drama, right? And he's like, these guys aren't ready for the smoke I'm about to bring them. Which is why I love the concept of what's going on here in Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
Ahsoka is not blinded the same way the Jedis are. But we do have to talk about something I know that Mantis is chomping at the bit at, right? So, Sabine shoots down, murders someone in a jet, and, gleefully says, I got one! But Ahsoka, in what I think might be one of the most badass moments in Star Wars, which has been done before, right? Steps outside of the fucking fighter, outside of her starship, and says, "Come at me, bro."
That was crazy. That was crazy. We ain't never seen a Jedi do it, for one.
Well, wait. That's where you're wrong. I had Screen Crush actually exposed it. He was like, "This is." People were complaining.
Are you about to say animated? Because animated doesn't count.
It counts if it's canon.
No, it's canon, but I'm saying we've never seen it in live action.
Okay, it counts, bro. The guy who
seeing it animated is not the same thing as seeing it in live action. Right?
I'm talking about in regards to the story. It counts.
I'm sure Jedi have done it in the past in terms of canon, but like,
I don't know. Jedi's are bitches, man. So here's what I'm saying.
What are you talking?
The fact that she stepped out there. Well, it's funny because the Jedi who discovered her, your man that had the mask on with the little tentacles, he did the exact same thing in Clone Wars. He actually stepped out on a fighter and started fighting Imperials or whomever with his lightsaber. But she stepped out there, and a lot of people have a lot of issue with this scene. I just want to see what you guys think about it.
What's their issue?
Hold on. I'm one of those people. I gotta.
Okay, well, what's the issue though? What's the issue?
it felt like I was watching Rebels, but not live action.
Right.
It felt like a set piece from like the animated show. And I was just watching it in real time, and I'm like, this is starting to hit a little shark jumpy territory for me a little bit.
I feel you. I was questioning too when she went out there.
I hated The Last Jedi, but I specifically hated Mary Poppins Leia.
Right, the bad comedy shit.
And it just I had flashbacks, man. You know the meme of the cat like with the wide eyes and like it zooms in and you just see all this stuff. Like that was me. It's just I've seen things, man, and I'm going back and I'm seeing Leia pull herself to a ship after getting blown into smithereens, and I don't want that PTSD in my mind. And that's what this scene gave me.
So
you know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to go out of my way to defend this scene. Because at first I was questioning too. I'm like, well, wait, what is she doing? But it kind of grew on me as it was going along. I admit it's a little cartoonish and
a little bit.
And so when Steve's talking about Plo Koon, I remember that episode where he switches ships with his enemies.
Yeah.
And he has him and all his soldiers go out there, and they're like fighting in space, and they cut a hole into the other ship, and they go in there and board a ship. I'm like, that was so badass. Now it would be amazing to see in live action. I don't know, man. Steve, where do you fall on this Ahsoka?
So here's the thing, right, man. This is up there with the silliness with certain other movies that I love, but I accept it because I've been having a good time thus far. Allow me to wax philosophical for a second. We watched The Predator dispatch an entire special forces team, right? Mm-hmm. How many times in that movie, the original Predator movie, did you see someone stand down and they're going to fight the Predator head on? 3 times.
Like 3 times. It happens like 3 times in the movie.
3 times. And the last time being with the star of the movie, right? And I remember when it got to where Schwarzenegger is going to fight the Predator, and I was just like, well, this is silly, right?
This keeps happening.
Like Billy, dead. Charles Dutton, dead.
Right.
But this motherfucker, the Predator, says, I'm going to pull a few punches. Let's see what happens here. We're going to get wacky with it, right? Papa Frida's welcome in.
Papa Frida's what up?
But we all love that scene where Schwarzenegger stares down the Predator. I absolutely love this scene, but I recognize how fucking campy.
Yeah, I understand how campy it is as well.
It's campy, but it's dope at the same time, because here's the problem I have, right? And you're gonna bring a point of realism to it when we're talking about space wizards here.
Yeah.
The ship's blasters fire at a higher rate than just some lone starship trooper, like some stormtrooper, right, or some rando with a laser, right? We're talking about these things are firing lasers, and I assume that the plasma they're kicking out is at a higher velocity, a higher width, it's stronger, and she's still fucking deflected.
Okay, you know what's super funny? You know what's absolutely freaking hysterical about what you're saying? So, Star Wars, for the most part, even the shitty Last Jedi, other than the hyperspace shit, which makes no sense, falls in line with the Star Wars RPG. Now, I'm a huge role-playing game guy, the tabletop game, and the mechanics they give work both ways. And in fact, they study the movies, they study what people say about it, and they're like, well, this is how the Force works, and blah, blah, blah. And like, even the way, in The Last Jedi, the way Luke died was canonical to the RPG, in that there's a way, basically, here's what it is. If you have the control ability, if you have the control feat, that means you can actually turn your hit points into force points. And so then you can also supercharge a force power. And so what he essentially did is he used his illusion power, but he super cranked it so he could project it to another planet. Right. But it did so much damage to him and killed him.
Yeah.
Right. And so all this kind of crazy shit, if you're a super nerd like me and a DM, you'll understand it. And what's funny is this feat that she did does not work in that. Because what it is weapons have scale.
They do.
That's what
Meaning that a Jedi can't parry a starfighter's energy weapon because it's so much bigger.
Right.
It's not a small beam. It's a beam that's like 5 times bigger than Ahsoka herself.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's meant to do way more damage. And
it wouldn't stand the test. And I feel that's
her arm at the very least. And this is my issue with Star Killer. And I know we're gonna get into Star Killer and we're gonna get into Ezra at a certain point. My issue with the Star Killer games were the fact that you can't introduce something into canon, no matter how shitty it is. The midichlorians, we all hate that, right? But it is what it is. It is now canon, right?
Yeah.
His force ability was strong enough where he could crumple starfighters. We've never seen anyone do.
I hate that shit. I hate it so much.
We've never seen anyone do anything like this. Now, the one thing that redeems this scene is that she didn't block multiple blasts. I think it was one blast, and then it was one parry, and then she jumps just at the right angle, slowed down by the lack of gravity, and chops a starfighter or a ship while it's passing by. I was okay with that, and I'm glad that the scene abruptly comes to an end with her like, did you fix the ship yet? Which is the next thing I want to get into. We were talking about how stoic she is in the first 2 episodes. It was fun to see her be a little bit funny. Ahsoka, that Rosario Dawson.
I want the young Ahsoka to come back.
Yeah, she's like floating through space. She's like, did you fix the ship yet?
Yeah.
I'm like, there we go.
There's more playful in this one, that's for sure.
You know what I got to say in terms of special effects sequencing? I do like the way when she gets the ship running, she goes and Ahsoka clings to the side and she goes down and she flips through the door all in like one motion. I was like, that was very Jedi.
That was very ninja. Very ninja.
So they fly down to the planet. The space whales show up.
Love the space.
And so, I'm about to like get into crazy theory crafting and analysis.
Let's do it.
But okay, so everyone is kind of ignoring the space whales. They're like, whatever, except for one person. Well, there are 2 people. Sabine is very impressed when she sees them. She's like, what the fuck? And Merrick like looks out and he's like staring at him like he's distracted, right? And so as you probably have heard, there's 2 very big competing theories.
Here we go. Let's get dirty. Let's get dirty.
So the super diehard, no offense, nerds think that it is Star Killer
right,
from the Force Unleashed games,
right,
simply because Sam Witwer's name was in the credits. Right? He's been in the credits. And then the other people, like we came up with this theory. We were just drunk and talking that it's Ezra.
Right.
Now,
okay,
I'm a huge, here's what it is. I have tripled down on the Ezra. I'm like totally sure he's Ezra. But one of the theories somebody had said is like the reason why he's mesmerized by the space whales are what took Ezra away.
Right.
And that's why Merrick is having some sort of emotional reaction to it.
So did you set this up tonight, this stream? Did you set it up for us to watch other people's reviews? Like, do we have a side panel for this where we can watch something?
I mean, we could. I mean, yeah. I got to.
So we don't have to do it right now because you bring up a great point. The one person that's in disagreement with you, that holds a lot of clout but doesn't change canon, is Star Wars Theory himself. He actually did a compare and contrast of the voice of Merrick to the voice actor.
He went that far?
Yeah.
He did, and he's like, "Yo, that is clear." I don't want to misquote him. I think he said that's clearly him, or it sounds exactly like this guy, because we actually got dialogue from Merrick. Yeah, they went that far. People are going that deep, which is why I'm completely blown away by the fact that the numbers are so low. And here's the thing.
Wait, hold on. The number. So that's another thing.
Right.
There is an argument as to whether the numbers are low.
As it should be, man, because I think a narrative, whether you be liberal or fucking conservative, you folks should stay the fuck out of fandom, man. Because all you do is bring confusion with your fucking politics, bro. Like,
well, they're using politics to make false claims.
Right.
And so Disney actually released their numbers after Samba TV said that there were only they were like, there was 1.2 million or whatever. Disney has a ridiculously higher number. And they're like saying, no, this is a successful show. Definitely. We love it. And they made a statement about it publicly. But it's a shame that like people are trying to manipulate numbers and trying to bedazzle us to follow some sort of thing. And then another thing I got to say is I just don't understand how people who used to be Disney fans suddenly, because of political issues, are now trying to sabotage everything Disney does. It's insane.
100%. 100%.
Trust me, I don't like certain political stances Disney has taken. I don't want to burn the fucker down. I mean, come on. Like,
that's my point, and I pose this to you guys, man. Not that you can answer for these people, but I'm talking about the more conservative side of fandom. You want this thing to fail so bad because of narratives you think it's pushing, right? Or have been pushing other properties. But if Disney says, you know what, fuck this shit, man, just like DC did. Never forget that Warner Brothers got to a place they were like, you know what, we gave you fucking cocksuckers the Snyder cut like you asked for. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, it's just more headache.
Yo, they were like a hair away from being like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Well, because Snyder fans were like threatening people's lives after they got what they wanted.
They were a bunch of savages, man. Snyder fans are like,
they are terrorists. They're worse
than Star Wars fans because they're actually about that action, man. Like,
so
the Snyder fan would show up at your house at 3 a.m.
Yeah, in like a mask, and he's just like, "Where's Justice League, dude?"
So what's the goal here? You hate Star Wars so much because of its quote-unquote woke agenda, and it has been pretty woke in certain aspects, right?
In certain aspects, but not all of them are. Like, for instance, I would not say Andor is woke in the slightest.
No, I wouldn't say so at all. But if they say we're packing it up, we see the fans are no longer interested, we're not making any more Star Wars properties, but we're not releasing what we own.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Like, they own it. This is not like a Fox Marvel deal where, like, we own it, but if we don't make something within a certain amount of time, it rolls back to the original creator. Wrong.
Yeah, they'll just sit on it forever.
Disney straight out owns it. So what's the goal there? But at any rate, man, like Merrick, Star Wars Theory did that whole thing there. Right. I wanted to see what you guys thought, man.
Oh, we'll definitely check that out. But first, I want to talk about why I am leaning toward it being Ezra. And so the first thing I gotta say is I think that it's just a better storytelling tactic. It makes no sense to introduce Starkiller when the story is about Ezra right now. Right?
Yeah, sure.
And so for the Night Sister, I always forget her name, for her to know that Thrawn is in another galaxy, someone would have had to come back and tell her this.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And so that's evidence that someone came back. It might as well be Ezra, right? But there's another interesting name, and I cannot believe that Screen Crush did this. So here's what I'm saying. Okay,
I know what you're talking about.
So first thing, it's all about names, right? So the first thing that we got to point out is that Ezra's power animal, his spirit animal, is a Lothal wolf, aka a big force-sensitive wolf, right? If you watch Rebels, and it's so weird that like I brought this up to a fellow fan of it, and they don't remember any of the wolves. They're like, "You mean a Lothal cat?" I'm like, "No, that's Sabine's animal, the wolf." They're like, "I don't remember." There are always wolves. When he has vision quests, he's with wolves. Even in the artwork, the mural, he's with a giant wolf. Yeah. When he goes to the I don't know what it's called, the space between time or whatever, his portal to get there has wolves dancing around it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so he's totally about the wolves. So check this out, if you will. So, okay. So Balin Skull, right?
Yeah.
And Shin Hati, right? Skull and Hati are Viking mythological wolves. Right. Where Skull is the wolf that hunts the sun all day long. He chases the sun. And at night, Hati is the wolf, the mythological wolf that chases the moon. And when the apocalypse comes, when Ragnarok finally comes, they will then catch up with them and devour them. Right? Their parent wolf, their mother wolf, Fenris, is the wolf that will eventually kill Thor. And so, here's the whole thing. So there's all this wolf shit, right? However, Merrick, what's up with Merrick? So, Sir Merrick, is one of the Knights of the Round Table. And they have different mythologies for each one of their knights. And in his solo quest, when he goes out to go on the quest for the Holy Grail, he gets turned into a werewolf. And so this character's name is Merrick. So all three of them are named after mythological wolves.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it's Ezra. I ain't got nothing to dispute that.
Unless, do you think this is just the obvious red herring?
Yeah, no, you're right, because all it proves is that Filoni loves wolves or some shit, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that, like,
that's incredible.
It's actually interesting that in it, if he were to fall to the dark side, it's interesting because in the story of Sir Merrick, he doesn't want to become evil. He doesn't want to become a werewolf, but he gets turned into it against his will. And so that might mirror the story of Ezra if they're getting super like literal in it. Now I don't know if Filoni does that kind of research. I don't know, but it's a weird coincidence. If it's a total coincidence, it's a weird.
There's no way it's not.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you and SHAOLIN the question, man. Right? So we have to really dissect something, right? We have to dissect the Inquisitors before we can really land on is Merrick fucking Ezra, and this is the problem with lazy and poor writing. And I'm not blaming any of this on Filoni, man, but here's the problem with the Inquisitors, man. Ezra that summoned the whales was a much more powerful Jedi than any Inquisitor has ever been. Yeah. There's no example of Inquisitors by nature are low-ranking Jedis that were low in the Force. Yeah, they're low in the Force, they're low in strategy, they're low in tactics. Like Darth Vader basically cuts one of their hands off the day Palpatine like reveals them to him, and then he suns them all the time. They are the dregs of the Jedi Order,
right?
That became, that became fucking Inquisitors. You have homegirl that was in Jedi Fallen Order, and she might be the most powerful like Inquisitor I've ever seen. The only problem I would have with Ezra being an Inquisitor, or why he's being presented as an Inquisitor, is just that. I'm like, Ezra was a much better Jedi than any Inquisitor has ever been, bro. Like,
they're kind of jobs.
There's never been an example where a real Jedi is an Inquisitor. Like, there's not someone that were like, oh, he was high in the Order,
right? Other than the Grand or High Inquisitor or Grand Inquisitor.
No, he wasn't even a fucking Jedi, bro. He was a Temple Guard.
That's a Jedi.
But he was a Temple Guard.
That's a Jedi. I'm saying that's a full-length Jedi.
He's a full Jedi, but he's one of the guys that allowed the temple to be completely decimated.
Oh, right. No, I know what you're saying on that. But I'm just saying, like, he at least was the only full trained one. The rest were like, I was once a Padawan, or I had some ability, or whatever. Some bullshit ass story. Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it is. The Sith are never going to let their lackeys be full grown things. Even Asajj Ventress, who's a very talented assassin, was a Night Sister, not a Sith. They weren't going to teach her the real ways of the Sith. But I mean, I don't freaking know. It's like Ezra only knows the dark side via Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm. Well,
those are the people of hunting.
No, you're wrong, brother. He knows the dark side from Darth Maul. Darth Maul.
Oh, right.
He tried to fucking romance that motherfucker multiple times.
As a matter of fact, those episodes make me very uncomfortable because it's like a child molester. It's a weird hermit is like, yes, come into my cave, young man. Let me show you something. And I was like, where is this headed? Before he reveals his Darth Maul, I was like, where is this episode headed?
What fun.
Oh my god.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Darth Maul was a real Darksider, right? I'm sorry, he was a real Sith. Because that's another thing. Let me just turn it over to you guys. We're aware of the different stages of people who practice the dark side, right? Siders. There are Inquisitors. Well, I guess Inquisitors, Darksiders, Siths, and then Sith Lords, right? I just don't. If it's Ezra, how are they going to make this make sense? Is my issue. What do you guys think?
So there's another piece, and I can't remember if it's still canon or not. But in the EU, if you weren't a Sith and you were just like a dark side, you were a dark Jedi. Period. That's what you were.
Right. Like Skull and Shin are dark Jedi.
So they would be dark Jedi. Asajj Ventress would technically be a dark Jedi. It's anyone who doesn't belong to the Sith or the Jedi who practices the dark side, what we call the Dark Jedi. So yeah, you can include Ventress in there, like Savage Opress, Shin and Balin. They would all be that. So if we want to look at Ezra, I mean, he's got like the Inquisitor lightsaber, but that doesn't mean he actually is one. He could just be a dark Jedi.
Good point.
So my theory, I guess my running theory is that when he comes back from the other, when he comes back from the other galaxy, I think he will be the one who kills the rest of the Inquisitors, and he takes their gear.
Okay, I like it. See, now we're talking, right? Like I feel like people are just kind of jumping from A to Z with the theory, but they're not looking at all like the letters in between to get there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He could have just very well salvaged some gear, got what he needed, and then he is where he is. As it
has been established, it is hard to come upon a lightsaber.
Absolutely.
It's hard. Not everyone be making lightsabers.
Yeah.
Even though I would say movie-wise, that was a real mistake in not giving the Sons of Ren lightsabers. That was really stupid.
There were a lot of mistakes. There were just plethora of mistakes there.
But Steve, did you hear my theory that like Ezra, when he comes back from the other galaxy, he'll hunt down the rest of the Inquisitors, kill them, and he'll take their gear?
Makes sense. I mean, Darth Maul was walking around with a broken, fucking broken.
Right.
His lightsaber is fucking the crazy shit. It was all fucked up. So, that gear is there. It's up for grabs. It makes sense, right? If you're a Force user and you haven't been trained how to make a lightsaber, you might be like, "Yeah, let me take this shit right here."
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing about Merrick, the character, man. This is where I know the show is doing something correct. Look at how we're talking about this, right? When's the last time the three of us sat down and discussed something this deeply in regards to Disney plus Star Wars?
I agree.
Now, the problem is, will they deliver? Will we over expect, right? Will our expectations be too much?
What I think I love about the show, and that's why I watch it when it premieres. Like I said, it's very rare that I do that with the show, but I like it's at the point where I can't wait for the next episode, and I watched it like at 10 minutes after 8 p.m. after it premiered. You know what I mean? Because I just was like couldn't wait to see the next episode, and that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
And I don't get me wrong, I love Andor. There are times that I was like, I'll watch that on Friday.
It can be a little dry, but here's the thing. I never found it dry, and I understood what they were trying to do with Andor, but I agree. With Ahsoka though, I feel like the pace has just been like phenomenal. This one, you could call it a little bit filler, but they still made progress, and they are jumping into it, man. Like they are not wasting time. We're going from one piece to another piece to another piece. We're not trying to fluff it too much, and that's what makes it exciting. You know, I always get something.
And so I'm the great predictor, and once again, I'm not always right on my predictions, but I love to predict. So I know Hayden Christensen is going to be in the series. He's in the cast list. I have no idea what they're going to use him for.
Yeah,
maybe a flashback, hopefully. Another thing that I have to say is that next episode, it's already been revealed. It's been leaked. It's highly lightsabered out.
Oh,
it's supposed to, yeah, and particularly with Balin or whatever. And so I don't know what's going to happen with Balin. Every time I look at Balin, he's always doing this thing where he's like, and he starts thinking. I'm like, what is this nigga thinking about? What is he thinking about? Like at the end of this episode when he's like, go hunt the Jedi, and he sits there, he's like, and I'm like, what's on your mind, bro? What's on your mind?
You know why you're having that reaction? Here's why. I stepped away to the restroom for a second, but you guys were talking about the Knights of Ren, right? And you were talking about the lack of them not giving them lightsabers. But in the comic, which Mantis, I know you reject, the original head of the Knights of Ren, he had a lightsaber. He was a true Darksider. Right. I know you don't accept it, but he was a true Darksider. He was Force sensitive. He had an aptitude with the Force, and he had a lightsaber. I don't know where the fuck he got it from. You know why you have that reaction to Balin is because he's not just some run-of-the-mill villain. This is a fully initiated Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
We might even find out in the show that he was a master that just didn't make it onto the council. And so he's working on levels.
Yeah.
And I love that there's a tension between the villains. His fucking Padawan called out fucking the Night Sister. He's like, and she's literally coldest line in the fucking show, Shaolin. She's like, congratulations. You almost got her.
Yes.
Step back and let us do our good work.
Right? You know what it is? I understand where Shin is coming from, because I'm sure she's wondering. She's like, why is my master, who's a master dark Jedi, taking orders from this bitch? Who is this bitch?
Captured bitch. We rescued you.
Yeah, we rescued you, and I'm taking orders from you. What the hell is going on here? But yo, I feel like this series cannot end. You know, it's only 8 episodes. We're 3 in, so we got 5 episodes left. They cannot end it without giving us an origin for them.
No, we need it. We need it, especially since we won't get the acolyte.
So here's something that's so funny. You believe all the black projects are getting canceled across. So here's something that's funny, and this is why I actually thought that he was going to take the role of Joris Sabaoth. Is because if you notice, their fighters and like their whole stick is still in the Clone War eras. If you think about it, and so Shin, who's young, you'd think she's a young woman, she's raised now. Nowadays, people wear helmets, but back in the Clone Wars, they wore headsets, these like tiaras with the thing, and she's still wearing that, and she's still wearing the pad.
That's a good
braid.
No, the braid, which is why I actually thought they found the world between worlds, and they were stuck there. That's what was my original theory. I was like, they got stuck there. And so that's very similar to Joris Sabaoth, who he was staying guarding all of the Emperor's hidden super weapons.
Right.
And he just stayed there as a guardian. And I thought that that's what he was doing for the Emperor. So they've changed him or whatever, but I'm still wondering, why are they still repping all this Clone War shit?
Because there's a natural, like, with revolutions, right? And you being Haitian, you should understand this. There's a down kick in technology, right? According to me, right? Like, you only have the technology that's available to you,
right? No, you're all right.
And an upheaval on a galaxy level, right? These motherfuckers are using what's available to. Case in point, the ring, right? The fucking galaxy jumping ring. They had to get decommissioned starships.
Right, they can't get new tech. They can't get new tech.
They can't get new tech, right? We got to use what's here for us.
Yeah.
Here's my issue. Not my issue. Here's what I'm hoping for, and I mean this to you guys, man. The next episode needs to be lightsaber crazy, because I feel as if, though, since they're stranded on this world, now we got to get into the nitty gritty, right? We got to get into, like, we're gonna hunt this bitch down. This is Ahsoka we're talking about, right? We have to put down the pupil of Anakin. It needs to be like lightsaber heavy. But also what I need to see in this next episode, and I might be asking too much, I need to see Thrawn.
Oh, right? Listen.
I need to see Thrawn. There has to be something that moves Thrawn in, or they're going to fuck up the pacing, bro.
Yo, I feel you. Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with that, actually. Because like for instance, I was annoyed in this last episode where Hera's like, she mentions Thrawn, and of course the senators are like, we're uneasy because we're scared of Thrawn. How often do we see this shit? Move on. We get it. People are intimidated by the motherfucker. Move the fuck on. And so even if they show a scene of him like shaving his beard out in fucking other galaxy world, they gotta have something go on, right? I feel you.
100%. We need to get to the point where we understand why he's a big bad, especially for people who are just coming into the episode, right? Imagine if you're a new fan and Shaolin tells you, yo, you need to check this out. All right, I watched these 3 episodes. Who the fuck is Thrawn? I'm not going back to watch Rebels. I need to be pulled in. And by the next episode, if he doesn't make a Thanos level cameo in it, right, it's going to be an issue.
Sorry, Steve, man, but I'm predicting right now, I think we are going to see him, but it's going to be for like 5 seconds. and it's going to be like the window in a starship. He's going to be like looking at a sun, and you're gonna like see his back, and he's going to zoom in with his hands behind his back, and then it's going to cut the credits. That's
right. There'll be nothing more than that. There'll be nothing more.
And I'm okay. And I'm okay with that. Okay. But we don't have 10 years, right? You see where I'm going with this?
I'm old as fuck. I do not have 10 years.
10 fucking years to see the variations on his costumes from different VX designers. So like, this nigga needs to show up now.
Right. I agree. I will say I like the villains right now. And I said this last episode that we hung out, that I like that there's a Night Sister with 2 Dark Jedis with a former Inquisitor.
It's amazing. The mix is just
it's a crazy mix, and they've decided to be like we're one group of evildoers. I love that.
It's great, man. It really is great.
So another speculation that's not heavy, but it's been out there. People are saying that Luke Skywalker will make an appearance somewhere.
Don't want him. I don't want him.
So here's the thing. Before I would have said, but I mean, we've gotten him a lot more in the new Star Wars than I ever thought we would. I mean, you remember the cameo he made, like extended cameo in the Book of Boba Fett? Who would have ever thought we'd see him in that?
I love that episode. That is an amazing episode, right?
Episode of the fucking series, man.
And then we already see that Luke and Ahsoka they're acquainted. You know what I mean? So I would not be surprised if he does show up somewhere.
And what we are owed, this was why they really need to make a Luke series and like the new Jedi Academy series, is that him and her have to have an extensive conversation about his father. Absolutely. He needs to be like, what was my father like? And she needs to tell him stories. And that's what it is. She's like, Auntie Ahsoka is here to tell us stories of my dad that I didn't ever really get to meet. And so that's what I want to see from Star Wars. And I know maybe not this series is where it should be, but I do really think it should happen. And I really do think man, they really just need to hire Sebastian Stan, and they just need to do they need to do a Luke Skywalker and the new Jedi Order thing, and it could be the story of him training Kylo or whatever, and it could end before the massacre. It could end right before the massacre or something. But I would like to see this story take place.
Yeah, honestly, they can fix the whole massacre thing with just this. You're not gonna like this, Mantis. I'm gonna tell you right away, but it's gonna work, right? The whole massacre thing and why I didn't want Grogu leaving with Luke. Not that I have a problem with the character of Luke. I have a problem with the way he was handled. But they can fix this whole thing with, I thought they all died, but it was only a few of them. And then if we can get into building up that the new order, right? Lead me there. But the problem is, this is the problem. I will fucking die on this hill. If all roads lead to bullshit, it doesn't matter how great it was, but it leads to bullshit. And if you're going to tie all this shit into bullshit, it's still going to let us down at the end of the day.
So Filoni is actually, he's doing one of the movies, and he has not stated what that movie is. Some people are saying different things. I think it should be the Yuuzhan Vong, because that was Luke's greatest victory.
Yeah.
Right. And, but however, whatever happens in this new era, like between, Return and, Force Awakens, they need to make Luke Skywalker, his academy, and all his feats amazing. He needs to have a list of victories and wins and amazing shit. He needs to do amazing shit before he becomes the decrepit piece of crap.
You talk about it right now. In fact, I want them to take that 30 to 25 years between what we're getting now and the new movies and just put every single piece of Star Wars media from now on.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree.
I don't have to think about the sequels. No.
Yes, I totally agree. So we can ignore it if we choose to. Yes, absolutely. That would be amazing if they just did a bunch of movies, a bunch of shows, all this shit. Get Sebastian Stan in there.
There you go, man. Yeah.
That would be utterly amazing. That's what we need for Star Wars. But, I will say, it is weird. I'm admitting it's weird that Ahsoka is living in a time where Luke Skywalker is the Grandmaster of the Jedi Order, and he's not in her show. It's a little weird.
It is. It is.
It's a little weird, but thank God, right? So when he showed up in the Book of Boba, right, and her involvement as a shadow character, which is when I write, I use characters like this in that exact same mechanism, which is like she's a shadow character, advising from the background. I think it's appropriate. The best representation we have of Luke in this era is 100% the end of The Mandalorian season 2, right?
Oh my God. I might watch that after this.
Yeah.
after we adjourn.
It's the best representation. And then to see that build off in Boba is appropriate. I know they're not going to retcon it, but if they bring him in on this, I agree with you, Mantis. It has to be on a scale where it's like, hey, this isn't just some kid that bum ass Obi-Wan found on a desert planet, right? This is that nigga. And he is tried and true the man that killed Sidious or helped kill Sidious, right?
Yeah.
He bested the big bad in his universe.
Yeah.
So if he shows up anyway, muted, nerfed, dwarfed, whatever fucking nerd term you want to use, he has to show up and be Luke Skywalker.
And here's the thing too, people aren't thinking about when it comes to this relationship. If you want to be technical, he would have a lot to learn from her. You know what
100%.
I mean?
100%.
Right, she's Auntie Ahsoka. She's
Yeah,
Auntie Ahsoka. He needs to learn some shit.
Exactly.
He needs some Jedi in his life.
Yeah, she's got him by 20 years. She could actually be his master. You know what I mean?
That would be pretty cool. That would be a cool scene.
Exactly. Give him lessons that he wasn't able to get, if you think about it that way.
Yo, you're right. Why is she training Sabine Wren when she should be training Luke?
Words right out of my mouth. This show would have been much better with Sebastian Stan as the fucking Padawan.
Oh my God, that would be freaking amazing.
Sabine
Because-
as a fucking Mando, and fucking she's along for the ride.
Let's be real. They stretched it making Sabine Wren force sensitive. Although people claim, I've seen videos where people are like, look at all the suggestions that she was force sensitive in Rebels. It's not that much. It's really not that much at all. It's not.
Right.
It's not.
It's like two scenes.
Yeah, and so it would be, all of this would be stronger if it was the Luke and Ahsoka show. Oh my God.
You are right. They are pulling a Reed Richards trying to make it work, you know. But no, it should definitely be Luke in there. So, but anyway, going back to it, I fully believe we'll see him. I think that's real.
You know what's crazy though, man? All right, so as we come to the end of the show, right? Our show, but at the end of the episode, man. I gotta just talk about the budget for this show, man. The space whales, that scene where they're flying past the space whales and they're being chased. It's a great departure from what people consider Star Wars to be something new, right? And it's subtle things, man. Just for me personally, this is not objective. It's completely subjective. When they're chasing Sabine and fucking Ahsoka down to the planet and they're flying past the whales, I realized that at that point I wasn't thinking about references or what's happened in the past or how does it relate into it. Man, I was completely immersed in that chase scene.
That's right.
I was like, fuck, man, that's why I said the episode, I loved it, man. I was like, fuck. I completely stopped thinking critically about this for a second and just enjoyed
it. See, that's you got something
amazing, bro. Like, I was not fucking taken off. Like, the CGI for the whales was beautiful, all the way down to the point. Did you notice that the dew from the atmosphere and the clouds, the whales had beads of water on them?
The window of the ship they were flying in, and the water beads was like, had the momentum, and it was flying.
Yes,
I'm feeling you, and so it was ultimately. Here's what it is. It was ultimately magical, and I think that scene was supposed to be magical. Yeah. These two forces are fighting, and suddenly these dare I say it, sacred or divine creatures appear. Yeah. Right? They're ascended beings, and so what's interesting is, like I said, Ahsoka and what's her face, Sabine, are like, wow, these things are crazy. and then it goes over, and you see that Merrick is like, oh my god, he's like, he doesn't say anything, but he's transfixed. And if you notice, Shin, who's a little bratty bitch, doesn't fucking flinch. She doesn't care. She's looking for her people to kill.
She hates squirrels.
Yeah, she is not an enlightened being at all. But everyone else who's really in touch with the Force, like feels something by being in the presence of these creatures.
Absolutely. That's a good insight.
Yeah. And I can't wait for next episode, because if this is really going to be lightsaber combat, and particularly with Balin, I really want to see him rep.
That's what I want to see.
My issue with Ray Stevens in the films has always been, and this is not his fault, man. It's, you can't help the way that you're designed. He's a big guy, right?
Right.
He's a big guy. Since Rome all the way to the Punisher, into Dexter, many other features, right, where he's had some type of combat, because he's so big, he looks kind of cumbersome in fight scenes sometimes. I really hope that the lightsaber, any of the lightsaber fight scenes he has with Ahsoka, that isn't an issue. I hope they took the time to understand that people want to see, we all essentially want the Obi-Wan Anakin situation. And this is why I'm saying this. We're talking about people who are highly trained. Ahsoka and him. Forget Shin. Forget who Merrick might possibly be. This motherfucker is a dark Jedi, right?
And he's been around since the Clone Wars, so he knows how to use that thing.
He's a survivor, right? And we may never see a gray Jedi, and I don't know why people are so fucking hard for that shit. But
I agree. It's so stupid.
I expect a fight scene between him and Ahsoka to be symphony, just the way the whales were when they were flying down to the planet.
Yo,
I want that level.
The one scene, the one shot in the trailer that we have is where he pulls out his lightsaber, she pulls out hers, she's by the wall, and he attacks, and she blocks, but she puts her leg up to bolster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's gonna be a fight. That's gonna be a fucking fight. Oh, yeah. No, it's pretty cool, man. I really can't wait to see what's going on with them. A lot of people have some theories that, like, he's gonna
be right back, guys.
Oh yeah, sure. That he is gonna end up like falling back to the light side, and Shin is gonna betray him and save Dark.
Oh well, she is kind of quiet, man. It's hard to tell what's going on with her. She's got a lot going on in that mind of hers. He seems to be more open. What's up, Rogue? How you doing?
Rogue Radio, what up?
Yeah, like she just seems very chaotic and unpredictable. So it would not surprise me if she is concocting some way to portray.
I love that she's living up to the cliche of a teenage girl. And it's just like these teenage bitches, they just do whatever they want, including kill their fathers.
just volatile,
emotional. They want to do things quick. They don't want to do things like
exactly. We need it here and now, immediate and fast. So. I gotta say too, man, the planet that they landed on, love that planet.
I do like this planet
that we got. I like the red trees. It gives me like Asian cinema. Maybe that's what they're going for. You know what I mean?
It is, in my opinion, that I think Dave Filoni is like an Asian file or whatever. Like, I think, like, for instance, like when you were pointing out that they're training, you're like, well, yeah, we do this training too. He was making it as Asian as possible. He was making it straight up kendo.
And that's what it was. It was in fact.
That's what it is, and that's fine. And here's what I'm saying: the original Jedi's.
Catch me up. What are we talking about right now?
We're talking about how Dave Filoni is probably like, probably has a hard on for Asian shit.
He's a weeaboo.
Right. He's a weeaboo. Yes, he's a weeaboo. Thank you for phrasing it. Because remember, the original Jedi were originally based off of samurai.
Yeah.
Right, so that's fine. But I feel like Dave Filoni takes it to another level, and so I really do think that he's. I'm not gonna finish that thought.
Wait, so here's one thing that Screen Rant reported on, right? which I'm surprised none of us caught. But we talked about the training scene in the beginning. You remember the stance that Ahsoka suggested? Apparently, according to Screen Rant, what's the most famous story told about samurais in film? You guys, give me your top two. Top two.
So I would say like the Seven Samurai.
Okay. Definitely would be considered number one.
47 Ronin.
So I would say that's number two. So let me give you the third. There's a story of a blind man.
Zatoichi.
Oh, yes. Right.
Rant actually, he swears by this, man. The stance that Ahsoka, or the exercise she suggested, was Zatoichi, right? And I'm like, I didn't hear that. I'm going to go watch it again because I tried to watch it the second time. He's saying that was a direct shout out to that. Dang, but in regard to the training, and if we're talking about Zatoichi, and if you're going to invoke something like that, I know I came back late, but I want to talk about what the next episode should be in regards to lightsaber play. You know what I loved about Zatoichi, man? Especially, I think it came out in like 2002, the new version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Very little parries. Now, why is this important to Star Wars? I can believe that Anakin and Obi-Wan had the fight that they had. Why? Because we're talking about father and son, essentially, right? He trained this guy. This guy had a deep aptitude for lightsaber combat. So it makes sense at the time that they faced each other, it was no longer just the father and son combatives, right? Like they know each other. You know how they always try to say like these two people know each other? No, Anakin and Obi-Wan should know each other. Right. It's like I'm amazing, but I'm training the greatest talent that might ever exist. Yeah. So they should be kind of stalemated at that point.
Yeah. That's logical. Yeah.
This episode, man, I want to see lightsaber combat represented. I want that feeling back, guys.
Yeah.
I want to know that the woman who trained, who was forced by her fucking master to stand in a circle of the best soldiers ever genetically engineered. Right. I want to know that she's that bitch, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to see that Ahsoka is that. I don't give a fuck about you cutting starfighters or any of that.
So
shit.
remember, he is of the at the time. Baylan Skull was the same age as Anakin.
Yeah. So it's
almost he is like a metaphor or a parallel to Anakin. Wow. He was as good as Anakin, at least until Anakin became the chosen one and ranked everybody, bitches. But he should be very skilled.
Yeah.
And in fact, let me tie one in for you guys, man. I'm gonna take you deep right now. The scene with Christian coming back should be a direct flashback with him training with Anakin. Like there should be that level of connection where it's like, yo, I trained with your master and he was good, but I'm the guy that stumbled him.
I'm sorry. I have to say that like I
know that was very Shaw Brothers, right?
Yeah.
That was very Shaw Brothers what I said.
I may be too much of like an Anakin stan or whatever because
you definitely are.
I'm just gonna sing his praises right now, and basically, obviously, no one can live up to my man Anakin.
So, but here's the crazy thing, right? I don't think anyone on his level of
no one's on his level.
No. Here's the thing. I don't think anyone on his level of training could, but 100%. I love fan fiction as well, and I've watched some fan fiction in regards to Anakin versus Mace Windu versus Yoda, where it's fan fiction. Sweaty nerds living in their grandmother's basement, right? I get that.
That is gross. That is a gross imagery you just portrayed.
But one fan fiction, what if Anakin fought Yoda? And the way this person broke it down, they were clearly versed in all the forms. They were like, "There's no way that he could win in a lightsaber fight."
No, he could. He would have beaten him. He would have beaten him.
Yoda would have killed him too. Like,
yeah,
no. I think Anakin would have.
No,
really?
Okay, so wait, hold on. Here's the deal. Wait, hold on. Let me speak. Let
me qualify for you.
So wait, hold on. Before you say anything,
not force, lightsaber.
I know, lightsaber. So basically, here's the deal. Anakin is the chosen one, which means he beats everybody. The only person he can't beat is Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan trained him and therefore gets in his head. Obi-Wan used trickery and deception to defeat him. Everyone else is a sucker for Anakin, and Anakin kills him.
But that's not true. Mace Windu and fucking Yoda stayed giving this motherfucker, before it was a meme, they came up with bombastic side eye. Like Mace Windu and Yoda always looked, they would never fully bought into him.
He would have killed them. It's called being the chosen one. I know you can argue all the time. You're like, I love Mace Windu. I don't care if you love Mace Windu. He is the chosen one. Therefore, fate will not let him die.
But here's the problem with you.
That's the problem. He has the greatest. He is the greatest plot armor ever.
Yeah, he has the greatest plot armor, and it didn't work. Right? He's the chosen one that got pimped out by an old man sitting behind a screen.
So here's the thing. He never actually had a direct fight with him. He got manipulated.
Exactly. And his chosen one status, by that standard,
you know who's not going to manipulate him? Mace Windu or Yoda. They would lose to a fight with him.
Neither one of those guys is going to fucking manipulate him. They're just going to say, hey, let me show you. You're the chosen one when it comes to the Force. It's true. You play a great
He would have chopped them down by now.
No. His great destiny was to get pimped out by Palpatine, and then in a moment of desperation, watching his son, who he lined up. Right?
It's a moment of desperation. I mean, obviously, you're describing it right. But I'm just saying, if the Fates ever had Anakin versus Yoda, Yoda could not win, and Mace could not win because he is the chosen one. End of story.
Not Fates. The story would not allow for them to win, right? And that's why they would never pit it against each other. And that's why I'm talking about fan fiction, right? I'm saying in regards to this episode.
Yeah, there's some fan fiction where Qui-Gon is the Grand Master and he kills everyone. I don't know who that bitch is who wrote it. It's that homo. But at the end of the day.
Well, hey, you would have a strong argument in this for sure if you didn't decanonize comics. And that's where your argument falls apart in regards to some things.
No, your argument falls apart because comics have never impacted the movies ever, once.
But watch how the comics support your statement. So there was a comic where Darth Vader actually gets to encounter the Council. And who do you think won that skirmish?
What, through time travel? I'm sure that's canon.
No. Oh my god!
It wasn't time travel. It was actually when he touched. It was the first time he tried to bleed a kyber crystal.
Yeah,
and we found out the kyber crystals have a sentient response to these things. And he actually went inside the kyber crystal, and it was like a whole.
It was like a vision. Okay.
No.
It wasn't real.
No, it was more than a vision. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that the world in between? Because you hate Rebels, and I remember the first time I asked you.
Yeah, and I don't believe in that either. I don't believe in that shit either.
But nigga, now it's canon.
It's actually not. It's actually not canon. You know why? Even live action hasn't approved it yet. It hasn't appeared in a show yet.
So when it appears on the show, what are you gonna say then?
Well, then I'm gonna say, well, that's some bad writing, but it's canon.
Oh.
That's some bad writing.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what at the end of the day,
right.
I like this show.
Yeah.
But Rebels was not a good show. And I just have to say this. It had good moments, as anything from Star Wars does. But it's not a good show. And it has crazy shit like time travel and weird shit. Ahsoka died halfway through, and then later on they're like, well, let's bring her back. Let's have him do a time travel and save her. Does that sound like good writing or legitimate shit?
You are a DC stan. Your entire DC experience is about time travel.
DC? What are you talking about? You are bugging out right now, son. I don't know what you're.
You look side to side.
Are you not a DC lover?
I am a DC lover, but what does that have to do with time travel?
Bro, we're talking about what crisis event? Everything traces to time travel leading into multiverse. You love the Flashpoint comic, nigga. You jerk off to it. You fucking jerk off to that shit.
I like Flashpoint, and that's it. I don't like any of these fucking Crisis Dick, Crisis B, Crisis Suck It. Fuck that shit.
Yo, real quick, super mega super digression, but I have to. I watched The Flash Saturday because it's on Max. I have thoughts. I guess overall, I did enjoy
Steve loves that movie too.
Look, I did enjoy it. All of the fan service with the multiversal switches and getting Michael Keaton back, putting his name up again as one of the best Batman. Amazing. But y'all, the
Nicolas Cage is Superman.
So here's what I'm saying. You're saying for the time travel shit.
It's garbage. It's garbage.
Just in certain areas, it just looked untextured.
Yo,
like
do you
super basic?
You realize that the director says he did that on purpose? I love how Courtney was frozen. He was literally frozen, and I was like, I literally thought I was like, am I losing internet? What's happening?
Man, look. I heard that, man, but I don't know. Is that just him just covering his ass? Because it took me out of the movie.
Honestly, I think it would be a perfect superhero movie if someone re-edited it. And here's the edits that I want. One, someone redo the special effects in the time bubble to actually look like real people instead of some weird whatever the fuck that it was. That was weird.
Yes, it was.
Another thing, they need to shorten the baby scene.
Oh,
in the beginning, that scene is just
it was a little rough.
It's long, unnecessarily long. Fuck! I forgot where I was going with that whole tirade. Other than Mantis, you approve of time travel when it suits your taste.
No, here's what I'm saying. In DC, it's fun because superheroes are constantly time traveling. In Star Wars, like I said, my real canon is the real 6. That's the real 6. Is there any time travel in the real 6? I don't think so. No, there isn't.
Wait. So what are you gonna do with the rest of the show? Like if they so it's canon. I'm sorry that you don't think it's canon, but the man that was put in charge of the property at the time who wrote Rebels.
That's great. They put some homo in front of some shit.
What do you mean some homos? So you're against Filoni?
If Filoni is constantly like basically Filoni, he's all right. He's all right.
You are the mad rapper of Star Wars.
Here's what I'm saying. It's great that these side projects be made, but if they don't fall in line with the main 6, fuck you.
Well,
okay. So here we go, right? So you're not watching the rest of Ahsoka, you're saying then?
I am. And I'm enjoying it. It hasn't violated anything yet.
So when it does violate,
as soon as Ezra comes in the thing and he's like, "Do you remember when I went back in time to save your life?" I'm like, "Fuck you! It's not canon." Boom. Just like Last Jedi, not canon. Boom.
This show is a result of the thing you hate. Ahsoka would not exist if this nigga didn't time travel. So you shouldn't be watching out the gate.
They shouldn't have killed her in the fucking first place. It's called writing, son. They write her. They write her to death, and then later on they're like, "How are we gonna end this?" And they're like, "Well, I really hate that we killed Ahsoka." They're like, "Bring her back." They're like, "What about Kanan?" Fuck that nigga. They have him go back, and he's like, "Can I go save my master?" No, you can't. Well, can I save Ahsoka? Yeah, sure. And it doesn't make any sense. It makes no fucking sense.
I agree with you. So why are you watching?
I like lightsabers. Here's what I'm saying. When I was watching the original trailer, when I saw Balin and her in that area where like the navigation thing is, and it's up, and like they're fighting or whatever. I was like, I want to see that.
The man is anything if not honest, baby.
No, and I gotta say, Sabine Wren is garbage.
Oh,
wow.
And so I see all these here's what I'm saying. We keep accrediting people for having great like ideas on the internet. They're horrible ones. For instance, Screen Crush thinks that Balin and Shin are the founders of the Knights of Ren. There's no evidence of that.
That's a bad take because
that is a bad take.
The canonized comics actually already give you that origin.
Talk to that motherfucker. There's a lot of bad takes going on.
Stay away from that. Stay away from that garbage.
You know what it is? People need to make YouTube videos. It's like in graduate school, people need to have theories, crazy theories. Right. And so they make crazy theories whether they believe them or not.
Yeah.
1,000-page paper, right? Like
right.
Here's the problem with growing up on the East Coast and in the South, the Carolinas, these places, right? We all understand that maybe our educational system at the time we were growing up was way too robust, right? I don't know how old you guys were, but I was in the 3rd grade when we read the Iliad. Now that sounds impressive up until the point where I was like,
Jesus.
I'm like, why the fuck am I reading this?
3rd grade?
What school did you go to?
No, fucking.
No, bro. Right before Rory's gonna get this. I wish RM was here. So I got streamlined into the IS program, IS 44, when it was an actual program. So I read that shit in 3rd grade. But I say that to say this about these stories, man, and this storytelling.
Yo, Gray Winthrop says Yoda is a shady bitch. He would absolutely use trickery.
Yoda. I gotta say this about this story, man. And I just want to bring it back to some of the theories that we're hearing out there, right? So to you people that wanted to be Star Killer, here's the problem, as I see
We're talking to you, Star Wars Theory.
Star Killer is only interesting to me on 2 levels. Vader had a secret apprentice, right? And this motherfucker could pull starfighters down mid-flight with the
capital starships, bro. And you question me on what I think is canon. Let me ask you a question. Do you actually think Starkiller is canon?
No, he's not canon. He's not canon. I've seen people try to make this argument even when they accepted the EU. And I'm like, bro, he's not canon. There's no example of any Jedi in any place, any time
doing shit like that.
Especially when to use your argument when there's a term like the Chosen One. Shouldn't the Chosen One be the only one that should be able to do some shit like that?
I agree. I absolutely agree. So,
and my point is, in this regard, if Starkiller is not that character, why would I bring him into this show?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
A muted character. It doesn't make any sense. Like, for fanfare, but hasn't Disney already been told multiple times, guys, by the fans that fanfare isn't going to save them from the situation they're in now? Like, we want, what's this? The battle cry? Good storytelling.
Yeah.
Good. We want good storytelling. So, would Starkiller showing up, finding out that he was some other Jedi, be good?
Not good.
He's Starkiller. He's just another Padawan that didn't get stabbed multiple times by Anakin.
They'd have to explain him. They'd have to explain Vader. They'd have to explain their relationship. It's just too messy of a thing. And so there's another explanation. I'll say this. Even if he did play Merrick's voice, he has played literally almost everyone rando in Star Wars. He has played what is it, stormtroopers. He's played all sorts of different things. For all we know, he is simply Merrick in his armor voice. And when he takes off his armor, he's going to be whatever actor they chose for Ezra. That it's very possible.
Yo, I agree with that 100%. This is really sidebar. Don't get mad at me.
I'm already mad at you.
You realize Merrick looks like one of the fucking characters from the Chronicles of Riddick. What are those motherfuckers called? The Necromancers?
Oh, the Sith in general, the necromongers. Yes,
The Necromongers.
the Sith in general. Here's what I'm saying: general evilness, like they all kind of like that's the Sith. Like for instance, if you guys like Power Ranger fans?
Yeah, I like Power Rangers.
Yeah, Power Rangers, Dino Thunder.
I remember that one.
Yeah, if you look at all the crew, the main villains, they all wear black. Mm-hmm. They basically are the Sith. You know what I'm saying? There's the dinosaur creature, whatever his name was. There's Zeltrex was his Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Who protected him, and then there's that sorceress chick who's wearing black. I was like, these motherfuckers. Was his name. Yes, Mesagog. That's what it is. Yo, they were basically Sith.
They were.
You could literally put their scenes into Star Wars, and people would be like, "Oh, it's Sith."
And he had a deep, menacing voice, and he spoke very calm and sensual, like he was trying.
Real sidebar: have either one of you guys played the Capcom Power Rangers fighting game at all?
No.
I've seen gameplay of it. It looks pretty dope.
But I got to tell you, the combat system on there is for the casual, right? Like if you're a button masher, you're going to enjoy this game. But the story, this might be one of the best multiversal stories ever told, with Tommy at the center of it.
Yo, Power Rangers Grid is some next level storytelling, and it's some of the best storytelling I've seen. Period.
It's amazing.
Took Power Rangers to a whole nother. That Lord Dracon thing.
Yes,
evil Tommy going across the.
Yes. Yo,
basically
Power Ranger comics is where they keep it real. Where they keep it fucking real.
The comics,
Shattered Grid, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. I want to ask you guys one more question in regards to this episode, right? So obviously, all three of us are still very much involved. We're engaged.
I'm loving it.
An hour and 52-minute conversation about this shit. Are you worried that they're going to fumble the bag? Are you worried that they're going to
every fucking moment? I watch it when it comes out like immediately. I'm like, I can't wait. And at the same time, I'm like, and so that's why when I saw Ahsoka go out on the Starship Hull, I said, and I feel she pulled it off. She didn't pull it off like in a positive light. I just feel like neutral light.
Yeah. So aside from that little hiccup, they haven't given me reason to believe that they're going to. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt right now. So that's where I'm at. I'm hopeful, man. I have to. For my own sanity, man. I gotta stay hopeful.
Yes. And here's the thing, man. I was just contemplating this per our last conversation. Like, we all want to see a fan at the helm, right? We want to see. We want a fan to be Picard, man. This makes me very interested. I want to be quoted accurately if everything goes awry. It makes me very interested.
I can't wait to misquote you.
I would be into seeing a Dave Filoni live action film.
Oh, it's coming. We've got one coming.
I'm like, I want to see what he has to do, and I think it's time, man. I think not anything to do with gender or any of that shit, man. Just pass the reins off to Favreau.
I would rather him. I want him to do a Luke movie, not an Ahsoka movie. I would not pay money for an Ahsoka movie.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't buy your ticket.
She's a TV show bitch. But I'm saying Luke, I'd go to a Luke movie. If he had a Luke movie where it was like Luke was getting the Jedi Order together and some villains in there, then yeah, I'm there. But I do not want to see his movie because he's making a movie and we don't know what the movie is. He's super secret about it. And he's just like, it's Ahsoka sucking mad dick like she usually does. I'm good.
You're on that campy shit. You hate Ahsoka, huh?
I think that she's overused and overplayed. And here's what I'm saying. I like this series despite her.
Look at Shaolin. Yo, Shaolin didn't take his
Dang,
hand off
man.
his face for like a whole 30 seconds.
Mantis, man, you letting your feelings out tonight, baby.
Yeah, what's up with you,
Yo,
man?
so you're all about Ahsoka?
Yeah. I feel like she's one of the last few fully realized characters that we have. You know, she's just had a good journey, and she's still repping. You know,
I feel like Luke has not been completed.
he definitely has not.
It should be Luke over her, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, that we can most certainly agree on.
Okay.
And I think it definitely would be him. It's just, the obvious roadblocks there would be with making him a thing. But yeah.
Basically, here's what I'm saying. Get Sebastian Stan. Get Leia to be played by that bitch from Stranger Things.
Okay. Oh yes. Yeah.
Right, and they have yet to find the duplicate for Han. Let's say Han is like fucking on the other side of the galaxy for the movie, and just have Luke and her do their thing. We would love it.
We would love it, and we would understand. You can recast. It's okay. We went through that whole thing with Black Panther. We don't have to touch on it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Right.
But yeah.
But I'm saying we have Sebastian Stan and we have that bitch from Stranger Things, so I don't see why we can't do a movie with them.
Yeah.
I love how I keep calling her the bitch from Stranger Things without looking up her name.
Who are you talking
Millie
about?
Bobby Brown.
The bitch from Stranger Things, nigga. What are you not listening?
Millie Bobby Brown is her name.
Oh, Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Wait, is she in this show?
No,
she looks like Princess Leia, and Sebastian Stan looks like Luke, which means they could play the young versions of them. That's what everyone says.
You know what the problem is, man? You are representing the toxic fandom right now. Like,
no, you are. No, motherfucker, you are. I'm repping the real fans. You're some bullshit ass nigga. Fuck that.
You are.
How am I toxic?
Yeah, if we would have opened up the Warner Brothers studio right now and they were like, what does a Snyder Cut fan look like? I think they'd have a picture like you.
No, you haven't explained. How am I the toxic fan?
I'm just fucking with you. You see how angry you guys? This nigga's like ripping up his Comic-Con tickets. Like, fuck that, Lucas.
Shit. So this has been a great episode. This has been a great stream. I guess we're gonna call it a evening.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next episode. I bet you anything mad reveals happen next episode.
Hopefully we get it wrong.
I think there will be. There are a few here, but that's going to be the heavy hitter. The next.
To be honest, Steve, I gotta say my least interested thing is Thrawn. I want to know more about Balin. I want to know about all sorts of shit.
And this is how you lead yourself to the path of disappointment. This shit is a rewritten version of the books about Thrawn from the EU. I know what this shit is about. This is about them propagating more properties for Disney Star Wars. This is their, never forget, brothers, I said it here first. This is their Infinity Saga. They have not given up on the shit, even though we are upset with a lot of things they presented.
Yeah.
They said it. I believe them when they said it. They wanted to have an Avengers level event. And that's what this is, man. And that's why I take the good with the bad. I hated the Book of Boba, but because of the potential it had, right? Like, I was so in for the first 3 episodes. When this motherfucker's running around in the desert with those people, I was like, man, I thought these motherfuckers were savages. They have culture.
What do you mean, these people?
I'm telling you right now, we might be coming out of the end of the Thor phase for Star Wars.
You really hate Thor. You always use Thor as a metaphor for something that sucks.
Well, let me give you an example, motherfucker. Whenever I hit you up to go see a movie, the only time if I say, yo, I'll pay for it, is when you'll say no thanks, is when you know it's going to be bad. And when Thor 2 came out, I hit you up. I was like, yo, I got the tickets. I'll pay for everything. You're like, I'm good. I was like, nigga, I'm gonna look,
I was good. I was good.
I was like, yo, I'll come pick you up, drop you off at home. We'll go to a theater near you. And this is a man I went to go see Rise of the Empire, 300 Rise of the Empire with. And he was like, yeah, if you're paying, I'm good. But I was like, yo, I'll pick you up and go see Thor 2. And he's like, nah. He didn't even say I'm busy. He said, nah, I'm good. I was like, what?
Look, the Thor comparisons are rife, man, because
they haven't ever gotten Thor right. That's the whole thing. I'm actually a Thor fan, and so they have never gotten him right. Not from the first movie or beyond. They did other shit, and I understand why people like him. He's charismatic. He's cool. Yeah. They never even attempted the real Thor, and they really need like a Game of Thrones style medieval Thor. You know, but instead they're like, absolutely. He's basically like, I don't even know. I'm not kidding.
He's a server dude.
He's an idiot.
He's
Love and Thunder was just egregious. I remember sitting in that theater just looking around, being like, "Oh my god, am I the only one that just thinks this shit is disgusting?" Bro.
You're right. I gave up on the movie halfway too. I was like, "What is going on?"
I'm sitting there. I'm the only one that doesn't like this movie. Everyone's quiet and watching. I'm getting ready to get up and walk out. You know.
when they told me they weren't bringing another director and writer, when Gore the God Butcher single-handedly other than Ragnarok, the Gore story arc in Thor comics is extremely relevant. Yeah, Ragnarok, these motherfuckers died, they came back, right? And then Thor is now staring down a villain like Gore the God Butcher.
Yo, the best.
They didn't say they were going to recast Tawiti, whatever this motherfucker's name is. I was like, this is going to be bullshit. Yeah.
The best criticism I've seen, which is like sums it all up, is Jeremy Johns, and he pointed out he freeze framed it. Remember when Gore goes to his god, and his god's like all comical or whatever. He's like, "Oh, you thought there was a heaven and all this shit," and he puts them both up, and he says, "These two characters from completely different movies. Why am I seeing them in the same movie?" And I was like, "You're absolutely right."
Yeah.
The Christian Bale shit was mad serious, and then you get to some shit that's comedic and stupid.
Yeah. Bro, and you know what's crazy about it? In the comics, I know we're over it, but I just want you to know, like, Gore never confronts his Pantheon, right? Which is the irony of his story, man. It's alluded to that his Pantheon was killed by the night god that fell to his planet with the golden god, like, and that's why his prayers weren't being answered. But he never gets to confront his Pantheon. This Gore is the quintessential broken individual, right? You should have never come into the power that he has. He got the power, had a reason to use it, and he did amazing with it. Right? That's where they fucked up. The reason I say I think we're coming out of the Thor era of Star Wars is, and I'm hope this is, I don't even have like real critical substance to add to it. It's pure hope. They have to know at a certain point we will not sit through another Boba Fett. Like, no one's coming back.
Yeah,
I will die or kill before I have to watch another Boba Fett.
Talk about it.
Like, they have to know. Like, at a certain point, like, I think the MCU's in the same place. They have to know. Yeah. I will not sit through another fucking She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. And you can't blame it on comic book movie fatigue, because Across the Spider-Verse did amazing.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Absolute amazing movie. So it's not that. People don't want to sit through bullshit. And I'm not going to pay monthly to see bullshit.
That's right.
If this show bombs, you heard it here first, I will be canceling Disney Plus. And I got kids.
You heard it here first. Bob Iger. I'm coming for you, you motherfucker. I'm going to piss on your fucking grave.
Oh, my.
He's not dead.
When he's dead.
Well,
when he's dead.
Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Fanboy Modeling School.
Yeah, he's right. He is right. This is Fat Mantis signing off. Who else is signing off with me?
Yo, it's your boy Steve, real name no gimmicks. Throwback Spin with Steve only on Audiolist. Download the app on all 3 major platforms, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. through 8 p.m. You can find my cohort here hosting his show. And there's some other great shit going on Audiolist, yo. So
Hot 95, also 4 to 8. My show's better though.
fuck you, fuck. This motherfucker loves Adam 22, Will Smith.
No, you love him. That's why you keep putting him on our show. Yo, Courtney, you have anything to say?
Yo, thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast tonight, just like last week. Enjoying the show so far. Hey, look, just follow me on Instagram if you want to, connect. And
what's your Instagram?
So Shaolin Ice Boxer, all one word. And I'm there. I'm here.
Until next time, bitches. Ciao for motherfucking.